Have you ever spent like a solid 10 minutes writing up a LinkedIn post and then you publish it and not a single person likes it? In this video, I'm going to teach you some of my very best LinkedIn post tips to get more eyes and more engagement on your content. Now, before I dive in, help my engagement by giving this video a thumbs up. All right, tip number 1, your content should inspire, educate, or entertain, or some combination of those. Your posts need to somehow provide value to people or they're not going to engage with it. And if they don't engage with it, LinkedIn isn't going to show it to a bigger audience. And round we go. It's a vicious circle. So when you're coming up with your next post, I want you to stop and back away and ask yourself, do I want this to inspire, educate, or entertain? Most of my posts would probably fall under education. I try to provide a lot of tips and tricks and hacks for how people can land clients and use LinkedIn. An example of an inspirational post might be an obstacle that you had to face and how you overcame it. Entertainment can mean something that makes people laugh, or, plain and simple, it could be something that's just thought-provoking. Maybe you are challenging common misconceptions in your industry, or you are debunking popular myths. The point is that it's content that kind of gets people talking and maybe even strikes a nerve. Right now in the comments, I want you to tell me what type of content might make the most sense for you. Inspiration, education, or entertainment? Leave me a comment right now. Tip number 2 is use LinkedIn engagement pods to get likes for likes. Just kidding. Just wanted to make sure you were listening. Tip number 2 for real is make your posts skimmable. One of the really cool parts about LinkedIn is that long form content actually performs really well, which is not the case for other platforms. So you should experiment with text-heavy content. But what you don't want to do is take a huge block of text, a huge paragraph, and make that your post, because it's not reader-friendly. You have to remember that a lot of people, when they're reading things online, they're not reading word for word, they're skimming. So you have to make it easy for them to skim your content. Here are several ways you can do that. Number 1, break up your text into short paragraphs. We're talking 1 or 2 lines max. Number 2, use lists. Lists help break up the text and also create a lot of empty space within the post, which is great for skimmability. Number 3, you can sprinkle emojis throughout your content. Keep it professional. This is still a reflection of you as a business person. And number 4, you can use a font generator to mix up some of the fonts within the post or make some text bold or italicized. By the way, you always want to make sure you also include hashtags in your posts, and I've got 2 videos on that you might find helpful, so I'm dropping both of those links below this video. Tip number 3 is keep it native. I've talked about this before, but I have a really cool update on it, so I wanted to mention it again. LinkedIn wants to keep people on the platform for as long as possible. So that means that if in your post you are telling people to click on a link that's going to take them outside of LinkedIn, then the platform isn't going to show that content to as many people. It doesn't want to send people away from LinkedIn. So we want to stick to native content, which basically means it's content that lives on LinkedIn. Everything people need to know and read, they can do it without leaving LinkedIn. What I started testing, and it's working really well, I will share a long form content, very text heavy, and it will be based on either a blog I wrote or one of my YouTube videos or one of my freebies. And then at the end of the post, I will say something like, if you want to see the full blog, drop me a comment and I'll send it to you in a DM. Something like that. This approach packs a huge punch. For starters, it keeps people on LinkedIn. Secondly, it encourages them to leave a comment. And then when I comment back, I'm essentially doubling the number of comments on that post. Then I engage in a private conversation with each of these people by sending them the link in a DM, and they almost always respond. This is awesome relationship building, and LinkedIn notices. It notices when you are forming these new connections and nurturing these new relationships. This is a simple but very powerful way to work with the algorithm and not against it. Speaking of algorithms, I've got a whole video on the LinkedIn algorithm. If you want to learn more about it, I'm putting that link below this video. Tip number 4 is tag people in the post and in comments. I want to give you a very friendly warning before I get into this one. If all you do is spam people and tag as many people as you can, it's not going to work. Don't bother. The people you tag aren't going to like it, and LinkedIn isn't going to like it. When it's natural, I will weave 1 or 2 people into the post by tagging them. Or I will leave a comment tagging 1 or 2 people, inviting them into the conversation and asking them for their thoughts on whatever I just posted. I really want to stress, you need to be thoughtful about this and intentional and considerate. It always needs to be authentic. One person who's really, really good at this is one of my students, Joan. He will tag me and other people in the comments of his posts. And I love when he does it because I know that whenever he tags me, it's going to be very relevant to me and it's going to be a post that I want to see. And I will always go to it and read it and comment on it. He does it the right way. Do that. Tip number 5 is return the favor. This one is so underestimated and it gives me cramps. We're talking about social networking. That implies that there is some sort of relationship that is a two-way thing. If all you're doing on LinkedIn is posting about you and your own stuff and talking about yourself, don't expect much to happen. You will stunt your own growth. You have to give if you want to receive. That's what these platforms are all about. LinkedIn, Facebook. Imagine if every person on LinkedIn and Facebook only posted all of their own stuff and never engaged with someone else. The platforms would be completely pointless. I will start my morning by spending a few minutes, and I do mean a few minutes, like 2 or 3 minutes, scrolling through the newsfeed on LinkedIn and picking out a few posts to like and comment on. They're authentic comments. I mean them when I say them. I'm not just commenting with nice post or something generic like that. I'm taking an active role, an active part in this conversation. Something else I will do is sometimes when people like or comment on my posts, I will go to their page and I will look at their activity. And if they are posting content of their own, I will like and or comment on it. You're not just doing this out of the kindness of your heart. I mean, it is a nice thing to do and you should do it because that's what these platforms are for. But also, I kind of touched on this earlier, LinkedIn notices all of these tiny actions that you're taking that involve some sort of interaction with another person. They serve as clues to LinkedIn. LinkedIn likes when you're active and when you are interacting with other people. So when you do that and when it's quality and real and authentic, you're telling LinkedIn, I'm an active member and people love interacting with me. These are things that are really going to boost the visibility of your page and bring you more engagement. I noticed a significant jump in my activity and my own engagement when I started making it a daily habit to spend a few minutes commenting on other people's posts. LinkedIn has been life-changing for me, and that's no exaggeration. I use it on a regular basis, so do my students, and it is very powerful. One other thing you want to make sure you're doing, which we did not touch on in this video, is you need to optimize your profile. You got to remember that LinkedIn is a search engine. It's like Google. People go on it, they type in who or what they want to find, and LinkedIn gives them search results. To make sure you're showing up in those search results and to make sure you're ranking high in those results, you got to optimize your profile. The good news is this is pretty simple to do, and I have a free guide that will take you through the whole thing step by step. Yes, it is free. I am dropping the link below. Thanks for hanging out with me. As always, I appreciate your time. If you haven't already, give this video a thumbs up and be sure to subscribe to my channel and click on the notification bell so that you never miss my new videos, and I'll see you guys later.